Just because it seems like God is too late doesn't mean that He's not going to come through. Don't be fooled by the circumstances. You may not see anything. The odds are against you. The experts say it's not going to work out. God controls the universe. Don't be impatient for Him to act. Keep believing, keep praying, and every blessing that belongs to you will show up. You won't have to go after it. It's going to come to you. It's going to happen at the time God has planned.
If God can pick me up and dust me off, I bet you He can do the same thing for you. But He can't do it if you don't come to Him. You got to ask Him for help. God wants a relationship with you. He don't want you to call Him every 6 months. He want to hear from you, man. He just want to say, hey, man, God, I appreciate you today. Thank you for waking me up this morning. And the cool thing about God is you ain't got to clear it with nobody. You don't need an appointment. You ain't got to see if He available. He open 24/7. He here all the time. I'm telling you, man. Look at me. You gotta have God. I'm telling you real. You try this without God, you tripping. You tripping. You do this without relationship with God gives you the tools and the weapons to handle life. You can stop thinking that life fitting be easy, because I got news for you, it ain't. That's a false hope to think you're gonna have a wonderfully carefree life. That's unthinkable. I made a t-shirt that said, faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You just need some faith, man. You got to call on God, and when it look like He ain't coming, you got to keep calling on Him. See, the moment you call, let me teach you this one lesson. I'm gonna let you go, I promise you. This is short. The way it works is, when you ask God for something, He boxes it up and He delivers it to you immediately. He ships whatever you ask Him for. If you believe it, He boxes it up and He ships it immediately. The problem with the package, He never tells you the date that the package is going to arrive. If you send it to me in 2020, I'm gonna be here for it. If it ain't coming to 2025, but you know what? He got some pretty good boxes. And I want every box that's got my name on it. Renew your faith. Keep praying. God is always coming. Your package has already been shipped. If you're trying to make it in this world without God in your life, you're making it way harder than it's got to be. I'm telling you, man, I did it. I did it without Him. It does not work. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. You can't tell me nothing about what He can't do for you. Nothing. Let me tell you something, man. I've been bottomed out. I'm talking about flat bottomed out. Nothing. I was talking today with my oldest son. He said, man, damn. Every time I hear about something you went through, I just go, how did you make it? I just kept this faith, man. I just kept believing that God didn't bring me this far to leave me. I just kept hearing my mama as a Sunday school teacher saying little scriptures to me. It didn't dawn on me till I got older. I'm telling you, man, I didn't get a car in my name till I was 38 years old. I was 38 before I purchased my first car. 38. Come on, man. I lived in a car for 3 years. I had nothing. But I made a decision, man. I just started talking to God every day. I just started asking Him for help, to hear me. If you call God and you ask Him to hear you, He hears you. I'm just telling you, it's real. God is real, man. Don't let nobody fool you. Listen to me, young people. Don't let nobody fool you.
We all go through things in life that don't make sense. A friend walked out of a relationship. The company's downsizing. They don't need us anymore. Or we were being our best. Then the pandemic hit. Business went down. Children can't go to school. Dreams are put on hold. Sometimes it feels like we're going backwards. It's easy to live frustrated and think, God, why is this happening? But we're not going to understand everything that happens. God's ways are not our ways. He can see things that we can't see. And just because it's not fair doesn't mean that God is not in control. Your steps are being ordered by the Lord. If He allowed it to happen, He's going to bring good out of it. He promises all things work together for your good. On its own, it may not be good. It wasn't fair. You're uncomfortable. But when it all comes together, you're going to see how it works to your advantage. The difficulty, the delay, the betrayal was all instrumental in you reaching your destiny. But none of us like bad breaks, loss, delay. But without that difficulty, you couldn't become who you were created to be. It may look like a dead end, but really it's setting you up for promotion. That door closed so a bigger door could open. That person that left you, it was hurtful, but it wasn't just their choice. God moved them out of the way so He could bring someone better. Well, that struggle was difficult. You didn't do anything wrong, but you had opposition at work. Your child wouldn't do what's right. It wasn't fair, but what you couldn't see is it was growing you up, developing your character, getting you stronger, more confident, more determined. Without it, you wouldn't be prepared for the blessing, the increase, the new levels that are coming your way. You may not understand what you're going through. You could live worried, discouraged. Try a new approach. God, I don't understand it, but I trust you. I know you're in control. You're working all things for my good. So I'm not going to live upset. I'm going to stay in peace, knowing that you will get me to where I'm supposed to be. There are a lot of things we don't understand, trouble that we've never seen. Like Jesus washed the disciples' feet, you're His disciple. If you would have been there, He would have washed your feet. I can imagine Him doing that today. He's saying, you're going to walk through things you don't understand, see difficulties that you've never seen. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to live upset and afraid, but don't worry, I've washed your feet. I've prepared you for what you're going to face. I've armed you with strength for the battle. It may not make sense, but it's all a part of my plan. God is getting you ready for new levels of influence, new levels of favor, new levels of leadership, new levels of resources. Now make sure you keep your shoes of peace on. Don't panic over the pandemic. Don't fear the unknown. Don't lose sleep over what doesn't make sense. God has equipped you, empowered you, and anointed you. You've been raised up for such a time as this. No weapon formed against you will prosper. You keep walking in faith, trusting when you don't understand, and you're going to walk into blessings, favor, healing, freedom, abundance, victory like you've never seen. I've learned when you stay in faith, when you don't understand, you're going to come into blessings that you don't understand. When you trust God, when it doesn't make sense, you're going to come into favor that doesn't make sense. Could it be that the disappointment you're so upset about is really a blessing in disguise? You can't see it, but it's a part of a divine plan, a critical piece that God is going to use years down the road to take you where you've never dreamed. But right now, that situation by itself doesn't make sense. It seems random, just a bad break, when in fact, it's the hand of God setting you up for increase. Without that challenge, you won't see the far and beyond favor that belongs to you. Trust Him when it doesn't make sense. I know this is not easy. We don't like closed doors, unfair situations, being uncomfortable. But God uses these things to move us into our purpose. It's not just the good breaks that will take you into your destiny. The closed doors are as important as the open doors. The betrayals are just as important as the divine connections. God uses them all.